What's up YouTube? It's Ben, and in this video, I'm gonna give you 5 ways to close a recruiting client. Hey guys, it's Ben Nader back with another video, and if you're watching this video right now, you should absolutely be in my Facebook group, 6-Figure Recruiters. So do yourself a favor and go ahead and click the link in the description of this video and find yourself straight in the Facebook group. So it turns out that in life, everything pretty much revolves around value. Everything that you as a person buy, consume, or experience and pay money for is something that you pay that hard-earned money for because you perceive that you're gonna get value for that. Maybe you'll buy a computer because you think it's gonna increase your efficiency, or you like the brand, or you like the design. Maybe you go to dinner at a specific restaurant because they have like the best dish ever and you're in love with it and you don't think that you could make it, or you don't wanna make it. Therefore, you exchange your money because you see value there. How about experiences like buying tickets to a football game where you go and you're amongst the whole crowd, everyone's cheering for the team, and you enjoy that experience and you find value in paying for that ticket to be there. It's all value-based, right? So when you get to the B2B or business to business and the client world, right? Why would it be any different? The fact of the matter is, it's no different whatsoever. When a client does business with you and they pay for services rendered, whether that's recruiting or otherwise, they are buying because they perceive real value. So go ahead and stick with me through the rest of this video, and I'm gonna show you 5 specific ways to close a client by presenting them real value that they can actually bite into, and how to convey that value, which is basically half the battle. Let's jump right into number 1, right? My number 1 way on how to close a client is cost of vacancy. Cost of vacancy, if you haven't heard me talk about it before, is essentially the cost that a company incurs when they don't have someone in a spot. The spot is vacant, right? So they don't have an employee, or maybe they need to grow, they need more employees, and that would be an opportunity cost. Either way, they're either losing revenue or they are not getting revenue that they could be getting. So that is what a cost of vacancy is. So essentially, by closing a client using this point, you're gonna ask them questions like, how much are you losing if you don't have this person in place? How much have you lost over the past month by not having this role filled? Now, when you do the math on this, you're gonna win every single time. The company is always gonna be losing way more money than it would actually cost them just to pay you to find someone, to put someone in that spot to actually stop the bleeding of money, or the opportunity cost that they could be making in earned revenue. So a really easy example of closing a client by using the cost of vacancy close is essentially asking them straight up, how much are you losing by having this position open right now? Or how much have you not earned by having these 3 positions not filled yet, right? And either they're gonna give you a number or they won't. It really doesn't matter, to be honest. You're just gonna get them thinking. And by getting them thinking, you're gonna get them towards the point of, okay, we'd better use you because your one-time fee is gonna be well worth it for us to just pay to get the role filled so we can stop the bleeding, or we can earn more revenue that we know we can earn right now. All right, so my number 2 way to close a client is time saved and efficiency. This one is also pretty straightforward. So just by the words, you can already tell what I'm going for here, right? The time saved and the efficiency of the actual hiring manager or hiring team at the company itself. So they have to do all the heavy lifting. They have to do the whole load of it, right? They have to put up ads, they have to headhunt, they have to find the candidates, they have to do all the interviews, pre-screens, vetting, all of that stuff themselves, which is a full-time job. As you know, if you're already recruiting, you know that stuff is a full-time job. And with them doing that rather than you doing it, it essentially takes away from them doing their own jobs, their own duties and tasks, which then also creates a cost of vacancy again. So you're sort of kind of going in a cycle here with that. But cost and time saving is huge. You don't want this hiring manager to work on this themselves. You'd rather have it on yourself so that you can make commission on the deal and they can do what they need to do. It's actually much more efficient for them, and closing them on this is super simple. By telling them how much time they're gonna save and how much more efficient it's gonna be for you to handle this, them to handle their job, and close the deal by that, and that should be good. My 3rd way of closing a client here is search experience. So if this one is not obvious enough, it's going to be obvious in a second. So exactly how this works is you close off your clients by telling them specifically that you are a subject matter expert in what they're looking for and you know how to find these people. See, they may be a hiring manager and manage those types of people, right? But they're not experts at search and finding these people. You are. You're a recruiter. You know how to use LinkedIn like they don't. You know how to use tools that they don't have. You know how to use search methodology that they've never even heard of. So they don't know how to recruit. So your search expertise is something that they don't have. Now there's an element of scarcity here too, because at the end of the day, they need you way more than you need them. And if you haven't watched my video on that, check that one out. But with that being said, you have all the things on board that they don't. And for that reason alone, it's scarce. You could walk on by and just leave and not help them out. They need you, right? So your search expertise and your search experience is something that's really, really powerful. Even though you might not feel like it is, it's super, super powerful. And they see you as an absolute expert if you're able to present and convey that you are an expert and you are able to tap into that candidate pool and find the people that they need. So basically, by letting your client know that you're going to be the one that's going to be able to find the people that they want, will close the deal. My fourth way of closing a client kind of is congruent with the last one with search expertise, but this one is called access, right? So access to candidates, access to these candidate pools, how to actually find them, how to lure them in, right? All of those things, right? They might have people that they've hired before that they know who they are, but they need new people because they obviously have job openings. That's why they're talking to you in the first place. So with that being said, they don't have the access to that job pool. They don't have the access to those candidates, those people that are looking for jobs, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't be talking to you. They wouldn't need you. So they don't have that access card that you do. And since you have that, that's one more carrot that you can hang in front of them to close the deal by telling them you have a large pool of candidates, which is essentially LinkedIn and other things like that, or you actually have a pool of candidates that you do literally know, and you can pull from those candidates. And by closing on this, you can definitely get your client to start licking their chops at this, because the idea of having candidates in the door sooner rather than later, again, circles back to cost of vacancy and all of the other things I mentioned above about how they need people like yesterday and they want them now. So you providing access to these people, right, as a conduit, right? You're the middle person. And by providing that key, you're going to close your client. All right, so my fifth and final closing point for closing a recruiting client is price point. First things first, I don't care what anyone thinks about this. If you're avoiding it, if you don't like people that close on price, if you don't like people that undercut anything, you're old school. You need to refresh your thinking. You need to refresh your methodology. You're doing it all wrong. You're doing it the old school way, right? I don't care. If I can close a deal just by going down a couple percentage points, I'm gonna do it every single time, because if it's worth it, it's worth it. Now, keep in mind, you don't want to rip yourself off. So if you're going to go down on price point, like your fee, right? So your fee is at 20%, you have to go to maybe 18% or 17.5. That means you're going to shorten your guarantee, right? You always have 3 levers. And if you haven't watched my video about negotiation, watch that as well. But you have your guarantee, your fee, and your net collection. And anytime one of those levers moves, another one has to move, right? So if you're going to close on price point, right, by coming down from maybe 25 to 20, that means that your guarantee goes from 60 to 30, or your net terms go from 30 to 7 days, something crazy like that, right? So you're always going to be at an advantage, but don't ever shy away or don't avoid closing on price. It's totally okay to do as long as you're still getting the best terms at the end of the day and actually closing the client. Now, the real key to actually closing these clients using any of these 5 different closes is figuring out what makes that particular client tick, what turns them on, what are their needs, what are they really all about. Once you can figure that out, you can go down any one of those 5 routes and basically just close them on any single one of them that you know really makes them excited. Which makes a perfect segue into my next point. I teach all my students in my mentorship program to have a really long and good discovery phone call with your prospect, right? Figure out what makes them tick, understand their needs, understand everything about the roles they need filled, their company, ask them endless questions, and do all of that to figure everything out, right? Find out really what the need is and how they work. Once you know that, you can basically become best buds, figure out whether it's going to be price point, it's going to be your expertise, it's going to be something about cost of vacancy, whatever it is, and then just run with it, right? And take it all the way to the bank, close the deal, make the placements, and collect on the fee. Now, pro tip. If you ever find yourself in a situation where maybe two of these closing points can combine to create a hybrid that the client is really excited about, then use that. Perhaps it's cost of vacancy and the fact that your search expertise is there, right? Combine those two factors, make those really emphasized, make those a really big point to the client, and close them on those two. Now, at the end of the day, you have to provide every single one of these solutions as valuable to the client. If they don't perceive any of these closing points as valuable to them, they're not going to want to pay a fee to work with you, right? Just like you wouldn't want to buy something that you don't perceive is valuable to you. But of course, that's not you. You're a great recruiter and you know how to frame that conversation, convey that value, and close that client. Hey, so if you found any value in this video, I'd love for you to smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber already, and the alert button so that you know every single time I drop a new video. Until then.